This is Nick.
This is Jack.
It's Thursday, the new Friday, May 23rd. And today's pod, it is the best one yet. It's a T-Boy.
The top 3 pop business news stories you need to know today.
Oh, Jack, it's almost Memorial Day, Yetis. We are hitting the road. Jack, are you heading down to Long Island, man?
I'm headed back to Long Island to see Alex's family and to find a good deli and to find a good pizzeria.
All right, besties. Jack is heading to Manhasset. I'm heading to Montecito. I'm driving down to Santa Barbara, baby.
I'm actually going to Massapequa. Those are fighting words, that kind of mistake, let me tell you.
Well, Jack, Gwyneth Paltrow better welcome us into her bungalow or I don't know where we're going to stay.
So Nick and I whipped up a special podcast for tomorrow to kick off the 3-day weekend.
Yeti's TBOY Hotline number 2, our monthly-ish call-in podcast show.
We'll talk about your life, work, investing, money, and T-Boy matchmaking. All your questions, we answer them tomorrow.
But in the meantime, today's show is the best one yet, and we have got 3 fantastic stories, Jack. What's on the pod?
For our first story, just in time for Memorial Day weekend, we are picking the drink of the summer.
Jack and I used 3 trend spotting techniques to forecast the drink that everyone is gonna be drinking.
For our second story, it's Nvidia. It's the most exciting company of the year, and they just announced Gamebuster earnings.
And it's all because of the Nvidia Superchip. It's the size of a suitcase, it costs $40K, and it weighs more than a St. Bernard.
And our third and final story, what if your car this weekend wouldn't let you drive faster than 80 miles an hour?
Well, California is considering a new speed limit law that moves us right in that direction.
But Yetis, before we hit that wonderful mix of stories,
no one is doing this mix, Jack. What a mix of stories today. Love the mix.
We've told you on this show about quiet quitting.
Quiet quitting. Instead of quitting your job, you do the bare minimum.
And we've talked about loud laboring, too.
Loud laboring, when you hustle real hard and then you tell everybody on LinkedIn.
But we've never told you about this. Quiet vacationing.
Quiet vacationing is quickly crushing it all about right now.
Quiet vacationing is probably what you're doing tomorrow before the long weekend.
Yeah, quiet vacationing. Could you whip up a definition for us, please?
Quiet vacationing, when you go on vacation, but keep it a secret from work.
Quiet vacationing, when you go on a trip to Tulum, but you don't update your manager.
40% of us millennials have taken time off without telling our team.
40% of you have hit the beach, but you didn't notify your boss.
It's Friday. You didn't request PTO, and everyone's like, Julie, that tropical Zoom background looks so realistic.
Julie, it's almost like you're in the Caribbean for real life.
So quiet vacationers have found 3 tricks to stay online while being offline.
So besties, here's the playbook for quiet vacationing that won't get you quietly fired.
First, you gotta move your mouse every few hours.
You don't want to let Slack go to sleep when you're on a quiet vacation.
Second, you gotta fill up your calendar so it looks like you're busy.
Because nothing screams work like a colorful calendar of blocks.
And finally, our favorite, you need a bunch of scheduled emails.
Oh, scheduled emails. What does that look like, Jack?
You schedule your email for when you're on vacation.
So it looks like you're emailing when you're actually parasailing.
It looks like you're busy. You're actually on the beach.
So Yeti's biggest day for quiet quitting, it's probably tomorrow.
The day before the 3-day weekend? Let's turn it into a 4-day weekend and not use any PTO.
Besties, if you're already headed off to Honolulu, your secret is safe with us.
Enjoy that quieting vacation. I mean, good luck at work today.
Just remember to move the mouse. Jack, let's hit our 3 stories.
15 years before this song, 2 boys from the Northeast met in the dorm. They had an idea that caused a cultural storm. It's the best one yet, but the best is the norm. Jack, Nick, that's it. I don't even think they need to practice. 50%, that's a fat tip. T-Boy City on your at-list. If you know, you know, cause we ready to go. We can't wait no more, so just start the show. Start the show.
For our first story, the biggest business question before Memorial Day weekend is this: what will be the drink of the summer?
We used 3 trend forecasting strategies to make that important prediction.
Yes, we did. And Jack, let's start with the context. First, 10 years ago, 2014, Jack, what was everyone drinking from Panama City to Nantucket?
We were fresh out of college and we acted natural, sipping rosé all day.
Rosé all day, white girl rosé, Whispering Angel, Frosé, pink wine sales were surging 1,000% that summer. Did we have a shortage?
There was actually a shortage of all blush wine, like nationwide.
Your Aunt Edna was like, if it's not Whispering Angel, I'm not drinking it.
4 years later, spiked seltzer became the rage.
White Claw became a $1 billion brand, all thanks to your buddy Timmy.
But the summer of 2021, during the pandemic, ready-to-drink cocktails is what you drank on the beach.
Yeah, nothing screamed that summer quite like an aluminum can of Negroni.
In 2022, it was no alcohol beverages. Then in 2023, it was low alcohol beverages.
And then when you got off the beach bar, you were grabbing an Aperol Spritz, an espresso martini, and maybe, just maybe, a Oaxacan Old Fashioned.
All of those drinks that Nick and I just mentioned have held the crown of drink of the summer at some point.
But Yetis, you know us. When we put on our investing hats, Jack and I don't want to focus on the past. We want to focus on the future. So we are about to predict the summer drink of 2024, and here's how we did it.
Nick and I take predictions seriously.
Yes, we do. We really do.
So we're using trend forecasting tactics called trend spotting to pick the drink of the summer for 2024.
Yetis, there are actually 3 strategies to predict trends from food to fashion to fitness, and Jack and I have been using each and every one of them.
The first is the hopping strategy. You take a trend from one industry and you hop it over to another.
For example, cannabis sales are jumping right now, so maybe THC-infused drink sales should also be jumping soon.
So THC-infused drinks could be the drink of the summer.
That's the hopping strategy. But the second strategy we use is the Frankenstein strategy.
Merge multiple existing trends into one big trend.
For example, Hispanic flavors, boba tea, and cans are trending right now. So Jack,
Canned tapioca tequila, ready to drink?
we merged all those trends into one new product. Boom, that's the Frankenstein strategy.
And of course, there's the 20-year rule of nostalgia that we love so much. Basically, what was cool 20 years ago, it could make a major comeback today.
So Jack, let's go back to 2004. What was everyone drinking before we were legally allowed to be drinking, man?
Red Bull and vodka. That's all you ordered.
2004 was Red Bull and vodka. Maybe that becomes trendy today. Or Jack, maybe Capri Suns from 2004 were trending. Maybe Capri Sun cocktails become trending today.
By the 20-year rule of nostalgia, those might be the drinks of the summer.
But Yetis, Jack and I don't think it'll be any of those examples. In fact, Jack and I predict that the drink of summer 2024 will actually be boxed, punched wine. Jack, what's the takeaway for all our buddies who are drinking anything this summer?
The drink of the summer for 2024 will be BeatBox, a boxed punch wine.
BeatBox. Yetis, this is an Austin-based punch drink that comes in a paper box, and the company was founded back in 2011.
The packaging has enough neon colors to blind you. You're probably going to see it at the end of your 7-Eleven this summer. And it looks like a Four Loko can.
It was like it was inspired by Four Loko and Gatorade and then designed by Lisa Frank.
It's 11% alcohol by volume. It's a party punch that's technically wine-based, and it looks like all of those things too.
And now, Jack, let's jump into the business. This company, BeatBox, appeared on Shark Tank in 2014 and got an investment from Mark Cuban.
And then after a decade of slow growth, it's been on an absolute tear the past couple years.
Jack, could you pour on some context as to tear?
Sales more than doubled last year to $100 million, and they could more than double again this year.
And besties, unlike any other beverage brand that we researched, this BeatBox startup touched on multiple emerging trends at once.
First, the container is paper. It comes in a paper box.
BeatBox is a paper carton alcohol, so it's both sustainable and convenient, both of which are trends.
Second, they're focused this summer on music festival marketing.
BeatBox is catching the concert trend. They're sponsoring 200 concerts this summer.
They're also marketing themselves as a fitness-friendly drink.
It's 120 calories, 7 grams of sugar. It's basically a juice cleanse, and that's a trend.
And finally, their packaging is made for social media too.
Yes, it is.
Wine snobs hate that this is technically wine because it looks that flashy.
So Yetis, add it all up, and our prediction for the drink of the summer is one that created an entirely new category.
Paper box punch wine.
Besties, BeatBox is the new White Claw. And you heard it here first. For our second story, stock markets are expected to rise today, and it's all because of one specific company, Nvidia, and their earnings report.
Because Nvidia doesn't make a computer chip. Nvidia makes a 288-pound mothership.
All right, Jack, toss on a gown and come on over to the red carpet. If you and I had to give out an award for the company that created the most value in 1 year, who would we give that statuette to?
Nvidia, hands down. Because in the past year, Nvidia's market cap, which is based on its stock price, increased by $1.5 trillion. In 1 year.
Yetis, Jack and I have never seen any company in history grow in value by that much in one period.
Just a few years ago, there'd never been a company worth that much. and they gained that much value in just 1 year.
Nvidia is now worth 300 lifts.
And yesterday, Nvidia showed us why.
Nvidia's revenues rose by 262%, with the third straight quarter of revenues tripling from the year before.
So the stock climbed another 6% after news of the earnings report, adding another $100 billion of value to the company.
Nvidia is the third biggest company in America and is worth a lot of lifts.
I think it could pass Apple and Microsoft this year.
But Yetis, we know what you're thinking over there. So Nvidia, they made $25 billion of revenue last quarter. But what is it that Nvidia exactly is selling these days?
They're selling chips. Computer chips, right?
Yeah, they're selling chips.
But it's not chips. Nick and I have to clarify the record. What Nvidia sells is more like motherships.
Jack, could you whip out the blueprints, please, and sprinkle on some context?
For the last 2 years, the most in-demand tech product in the world is Nvidia's H100 chip. It's the only thing that can compute AI at a high level.
But that H100 chip that Jack just mentioned is not the classic computer chip that you're imagining from your childhood.
This ain't no Intel Pentium 2 processor.
No, it ain't, Jack.
The H100 chip is actually made up of 35,000 parts.
The H100 chip weighs 70 pounds.
And the H100 chip is actually sold in a unit that weighs 288 pounds.
Yetis, when you think of a chip, you're thinking of that tiny little thing inside your old TI-83 calculator.
Chips are small. Like, doesn't the word kind of mean smallness?
Chips are micro, they're tiny.
But this H100 unit, which is Nvidia's incredible blockbuster profit puppy, is actually the size of a large suitcase that's too big to carry onto the airplane.
Jack, a 288-pound suitcase-sized processing powerhouse? That is not a chip, man. That is a mothership.
It's 288 pounds, which is like a heavy sofa. It's a refrigerator. This thing is as big as a motorcycle.
Jack, I think when we describe this chip, we should be talking about it like it's a boxer getting into a ring. You know, at 288 pounds, at 6'5", and a heavyweight title, it's the Nvidia computer chip.
If you type a question to an AI chatbot and it gives you an incredibly quick, surprisingly smart answer, it's all processed on one of these chips.
And Yetis, these giant mothership computer chips from Nvidia are so in demand that Nvidia can name their price.
And their price right now is $40,000 each.
$40,000 for a chip the size of Mike Tyson. So Jack, what's the takeaway for our buddies over at Nvidia?
Nvidia's greatest strength is also its greatest weakness.
Now, Yetis, if you look at the market forces that determine profits, a key one in artificial intelligence chips is competition.
And Nvidia has no competition. They can charge $40,000 per chip because they're simply the only company that makes this very specific chip needed for AI.
So Apple, Meta, Amazon, Microsoft, and 1,600 other companies working on AI all clamor for this limited supply of Nvidia chips.
And that means these tech giants have been humbled. They're so big and so powerful, they're usually the ones calling the shots. But now Nvidia calls the shots.
Well, here's the interesting thing, Yetis. That strength of Nvidia may actually also be Nvidia's biggest weakness, because big tech does not like being dependent.
And that's why Meta, Apple, Microsoft, and Amazon are all reportedly working on their own chips so they don't have to depend on Nvidia.
They want to get Nvidia out of the way.
Nvidia's surge has made it so powerful that it's actually attracting the biggest competition from the most powerful companies out there.
And that's why Jack and I think Nvidia's greatest strength is that it's the only one who makes the brain of AI, but
long term, that's also Nvidia's vulnerability.
For our third and final story, if you're speeding in California, your car may soon start honking at you.
If this speed honk innovation becomes law in California, then it's going to become law everywhere, and we'll tell you why.
Now, Yetis, like Jack and I told you, we both got big road trips this weekend. Jack's going down to Long Island. I'm going down to Santa Barbara. But Jack, in your car the other day, you kind of had a little bit of an incident, didn't you?
Just yesterday, I was driving with River. She was sitting next to me in the front seat. And that annoying alert started chirping because her seatbelt wasn't buckled. She's a dog.
The car thought it was a person.
So I reached over, grabbed the seatbelt, and awkwardly put it behind her and buckled it in.
That doesn't sound safe for River, but...
No, you're right. It's not safe for River, but yeah, well, let's move on. Let's move on.
Well, Yetis, the state of California wants to take everything Jack just said one step further.
The state of California just passed a law in the state Senate that there will be a noisy alert in your car if you're driving it more than 10 miles per hour over the speed limit.
Yeah, as we repeat, if you're going more than 10 miles over the speed limit, you're going to start hearing a little bit of a beep, beep, beep until you slow that thing down.
And that beep, beep, beep is designed to annoy you.
Because some of us drive a little bit too fast by accident, you know?
You're on I-95, you're like, oh my goodness, I'm driving 86. I'd actually appreciate a little beep to remind me to slow down.
You're on I-95, probably shouldn't be going more than 75.
And advocates of this law say the same thing my dad always says. Speed kills.
Yeah, because in the United States, 10,000 people die every year because of speed-related accidents.
In California, 35% of all traffic fatalities are related to speeding.
35%.
So California wants to institute this passive speed governor, which doesn't slow your car down, but it will nag you to with that annoying beeping we just told you about.
Now, Yetis, this law barely passed the Senate, and it must still pass California's House and get a government signature to become law.
And if it does become law, it won't come into effect until 2032. So Ford will have plenty of time to build in this new nudge.
Besties, what Jack and I are saying here is that this is basically the anti-Vin Diesel law. Right, Jack?
Because your car gets furious if you drive fast.
Yeah, Vin Diesel would hate this. By the way, if they want to make this effective, Jack, they shouldn't make it a beeping noise. You know what they should do?
What should they do?
They should have a recording of your mother telling you to slow down. Like, Jack, if you're going 85 miles per hour and we hear, "This is Jennifer, your mother. Jack, could you please turn it down on the accelerator?"
Yeah, but then your inner teenager is going to ignore your mom because you want to be a rebel.
Jack, I think that's something for you to work out in therapy. But in the meantime, I think that would be more effective.
But hey, can I bring up a different fictional character from a TV show? How about Ron Swanson?
Yeah, Ron Swanson. Yet he's the character from Parks and Recreation.
He would hate this law.
And why is that, Jack?
Critics of this law call it an extension of the nanny state.
Their critique is, hey, what if you need to speed up in case of an emergency? What are you going to do then?
If it's an emergency, can't you just drive through the annoying noise until you get to the hospital?
But honestly, Yetis, there's actually a better question here that we really want to ask.
Why are cars built to drive 2 to 3 times higher than the legal limit? Why can cars go 180 miles per hour?
It seems like a huge resource waste. I mean, honestly, Jack, I don't think I've ever gone above 83 miles per hour.
That's pretty impressively low for a top speed limit, but I respect it.
I remember where I hit 83 because I got a ticket.
But doesn't it make you feel powerful that your car could go 3 times faster?
That's the thing, Yetis. The reason why your cars can go 2 to 3 times the speed limit at all is because the speedometer is basically a marketing tool. It's a power signal.
But it's a dangerous power signal.
But Yetis, here's what Jack and I found fascinating about this story. When we zoom out to a geographical context, this beep doesn't seem so wild.
In Europe, this thing, which is called a passive speed regulator, they're actually common in Europe.
In fact, all new cars sold in the European Union starting later this year must have this type of device to try to slow you down.
Although drivers can turn them off.
But Yetis, we know what you're thinking. That's Europe, not America. But actually, this story is about California. And when it comes to California, it may as well be America.
Because California's economic market is so big that if it becomes law there, car makers will install them for all their cars.
Yetis, get this. California is the 5th biggest economy in the world. California is bigger than India and France and Brazil when it comes to GDP.
So if Ford needs to make a special car for California, it's cost effective. They might as well do it for the whole country.
Yeah, a California car will become the standard car.
When it comes to regulations, as California goes, so goes the nation.
So Jack, what's the takeaway for all our buddies who are anyone driving a car?
Regulation always faces resistance.
Yetis, the initial reaction when anyone hears about this speeding siren in your car noise, it's often surprise. It's also often just frustration.
But we think this thing, which I like to call the slow down nagging noise, we think it will become standard and we actually will all get used to it, despite the initial outrage some have.
And the reason Jack and I think this is because back in 1968, many Americans were outraged when seatbelts became mandatory.
In the 1980s, people were outraged when you couldn't drink a beer while driving anymore.
In fact, the year before Jack and I were born, drinking and driving was legal in 26 different states.
And when the federal ban came, the year we were born in 1988, a lot of people were furious that they couldn't drink and drive. Can you believe that?
So that's why, the way we see it, you shouldn't be surprised at all that part of the United States is opposed to a speeding siren law.
The slow down nagging noise.
Because frankly, no matter the law, there's always resistance to regulation. Jack, could you whip up the takeaways for the new Friday?
It's time to predict the drink of the summer. We don't think it's going to be rosé, spiked seltzer, or ready-to-drink canned cocktails.
Based on the trend forecasting that we're doing, the drink of the summer will be BeatBox, boxed punch wine.
For our second story, Nvidia revenue tripled for a third quarter in a row. So the stock is so high, they're doing a 10-to-1 stock split.
But Yetis, Nvidia's greatest strength may actually be its greatest weakness.
And our third and final story. California Senate just passed the slow down nagging noise law. That's our name for it, which caused some outrage.
Yes, it did. But remember, every new safety law faces initial resistance.
But Yetis, this pod's not over yet. Here's what else you need to know today.
First, the Wall Street Journal just revealed the highest paid CEOs of 2023, and shocker, it was a record high.
The median Fortune 500 CEO received a pay package last year of $15.7 million.
$15.7 million was the median, but the highest paid CEO, who was it, Jack?
Broadcom CEO received $162 million in pay last year, but only if he stays for a bit longer and the stock stays at a certain high price.
Yeah, a lot of comp is tied to stock. Like Chipotle CEO got a $22 million pay package, but the stock is up so much, his pay is now worth $55 million.
And second, Amazon plans to give Alexa a conversational overhaul and may start charging a subscription for her.
Jack, Alexa's about 10 years old right now. So for her birthday, Amazon is giving her some updates.
She's going to get loaded with AI to ward off the threat from ChatGPT.
And you may have to start paying in order to chat with Alexa.
According to reports, Alexa may soon get a monthly subscription.
And finally, Taylor Swift fans are now causing a spike in European air travel that the skies cannot handle.
According to United Airlines, demand for flights to Lisbon, Portugal are up 25% this summer.
And flights to Munich are up 45%, and flights to Milan are up 45%.
Because the Eras Tour is on its European leg, and Swiftonomics is coming with it.
Yes, it is, and it is very possible.
Concert ticket prices in Europe are way lower because of anti-scalping rules. So by girl math, you actually save money flying to London for her concert there.
Scalping, not possible. Now, time for the best fact yet. This one sent in from our buddies in Speedway, Indiana.
Monday is Memorial Day, a moment to celebrate and remember all those who gave their lives in service to this country.
And Memorial Day weekend is also a tradition of the Indy 500 car race.
The Indy 500 is this Sunday, and it's a 500-mile race, but it only takes 200 laps to go those 500 miles.
Now, Jack, why does it only take 200 laps to go 500 miles?
Because this ain't no track at your local high school that's a quarter mile. Each lap is 2.5 miles.
Yetis, the Indy 500 track is so huge that you can fit the White House, the Vatican City, the Taj Mahal, the Roman Coliseum, Yankee Stadium, the Rose Bowl Stadium, Liberty Island, and Churchill Downs.
Just inside the track.
Thank you, I couldn't finish this.
It's insane. I actually went there twice as a kid. My dad drove me there.
How long did it take to drive there, Jack? Probably shorter than the track.
Long time. Let me just say, Ohio, Pennsylvania, and Indiana, they're very flat.
Well, there's anything I know about Big Ted is that he wasn't speeding along the way. Yetis, you've looked fantastic all week. Let us know, what do you think the drink of the summer is going to be? Do you disagree with Jackson, my prediction?
BeatBox, boxed punch wine. Yeah, we didn't know it existed until this episode either.
Honestly, it could end up being the Caipirinha Capri Sun, Jack. That's a good Capri Sun cocktail right there.
Did you know that Michelob has an ultra light available this summer?
It's the only drink that you burn calories consuming, I believe.
Miller Light.
So Yetis, enjoy your Memorial Day weekend. Jack and I will see you in Massapequa, or we'll see you in Montecito.
And let us know what you think of our episode tomorrow, TBOY Hotline, episode 2.
We think you're going to love it all weekend. Enjoy tomorrow's show.
Nick and I will see you tomorrow.
Can't wait. And before we go, a shout out and thank you to all the military families out there who've sacrificed over the years. This weekend, we're thinking of you, we're honoring you, and we appreciate everything you've given.
Yes, we do.
And also, a congratulations to Nolan T., a bestie who's enjoying his last day of preschool, singing our jingle intro song all the way to homeroom.
Congratulations to Curtis Mraz, who just launched a website, ChamplainValleyHoney.com. beatbox.com. I gotta try this stuff.
You gotta try it. It's 4 generations of beekeeping. It's the oldest in the state of Vermont.
But I have tried this stuff. It's some of the best honey from the best bees you'll ever taste.
I knew it. And Courtney Rodriguez Sales in Houston, Texas is graduating with a degree from Harvard in education. Not too shabby that she's also a Giants fan.
And congratulations to Emily Shining, who is 2/3 of the way through law school.
I heard that 3rd year is like kind of a joke. You got this, Emily. And Benjamin Tarragon is graduating his EY rotation on the Upper East Side of New York City. After literally a moldy year, he's having the best year yet.
And happy 11th birthday to Samantha Figueredo in Florida.
Caleb Myers has got a birthday down in Dallas. Get this guy a Cookie Crisp Jack. It's the least you can do.
Cookie Crisp.
And Megan Burnside in Dallas, Texas has been doing marketing at Frito-Lay and celebrating birthdays.
Now that's a chip.
And the Corgi Margot Bun Barkin Booth in O'Fallon, Illinois is celebrating a doggy birthday.
This is Jack. I own stock of Amazon and Ford, and Nick and I both own stock of Apple and Chipotle.